Hello, I am your host, Mr. Fix-It. Today, I am going to help a viewer solve the problem with his microwave. The user Insider sent a message or posted a message on the website asking if there could be a problem with his microwave. He said it wasn't heating up, but everything else worked. The turntable, the light, the control box, or the control keypad, everything worked, but it did not heat. He wanted to know if it could be the fuse. If it was a fuse, the microwave would not work, period. The fuse is kept for the whole microwave. If the fuse blows, everything in the microwave will not work. It's a main fuse. Without the fuse, of course, like I said, the microwave will not work. However, the other issues could be one of a few things. It could be a relay, depending on what kind of relay it is. The two main types are solid state, which barely makes a noise when they trigger, and the mechanical version, which you hear a click when the microwave is turned on. Another problem could be the transformer. It's a high voltage transformer that when supplied with 120 volts to it, it could be the problem that it could have went bad. Now they are expensive to replace, but of all the microwaves that I've worked on, it's never been the transformer. It's been either a relay that's gone bad, or it's gone a high voltage capacitor that has gone bad, or it's the diode that connects from the capacitor to the frame of the microwave. I will show you these parts and show you what to check for and how to troubleshoot and ways that the problem can be fixed depending on the problem. Some problems you can probably order the part to fix it yourself. Others you may have to go to a junkyard or find a discarded microwave to get the part you need. Here I will show you all the parts and what to test for. I'm sorry that WizKid's not here with me. I'm at my house right now. And as you can see here, this is my microwave. It's a little dirty. It was in my truck. I drive a big truck, and I keep my microwave like this in the truck to warm food up. As you can see here, there's switches for the door, the fuse, the light bulb. Up here, you see the capacitor. This is a diode. Now, before you work on these things, you want to make sure that they've been unplugged for at least 15 to 30 minutes after they've been used. Because the high voltage can knock you on your butt and kill you, even at 120 volts. Now here, as I mentioned, your capacitor, your diode, any one of these can prevent your microwave from heating. Your transformer can also prevent your microwave from heating. And the magnetron. If the magnetron's bad, then you're better off to either buy a new microwave or find a discarded one and hope and check to see if the magnetron mounts the same way the old one did. First thing you want to do, as I mentioned earlier for safety, is to make sure you unplug it. Now, the first thing you want to do is make sure that the microwave has been unplugged and not in use for at least 15 to 30 minutes to make sure that the capacitor that's inside, the high voltage capacitor that I pointed out, is fully discharged. You do not want a charged capacitor to touch you. It can kill. For those who are not sure about what they're doing, please do not attempt to do this. Let somebody else fix it, or you just might as well go ahead and get you a new microwave. As I've said, these parts can be expensive. most of them, this transformer especially, can cost well more than the microwave itself. But as we've mentioned before, you can go to junkyards to get new parts from a discarded microwave, but make sure that the parts fit. Now, next, we're going to go through the steps of troubleshooting. Now, you'll have to bear with me, please, because Mr. WizKid's not here to hold my camera here, so you're going to have to bear with me a little bit. First thing you can check is to see if the transformer is getting any power. You do this by, get my test leads out of the way. You'll see these two black cables. One's black, one's white. The black one is the hot one. This is the neutral. What you want to do is unhook them like this. Take the other one like that. Next thing you want to do is take your, if you have a tester that will measure 120 to 240 volts AC, or if you have something like this, which is a digital multimeter that can test from voltage DC, AC, ohms, continuity, diode, and capacitance, which I'll show you how to use that in a minute. Your frequency, temperature, and amperage. This meter does come in handy. If you have one, you can use it. And I'll show you how. What you want to do is take your test lead here, plug it into one of them. AC doesn't matter which one you use. Now, this one here is connected to this. You'll take your other one and you'll plug it into the white wire that came off the transformer, just like this. Now that you got them connected, what you want to do is turn your microwave on just as you normally would. Since the transformer is disconnected, you do not have to worry about high voltage being produced if the transformer is getting power. Now, you make sure nothing's touching your connections here. Make sure you keep them out of the way of anything else. Make sure they're not touching anything. Plug your microwave in. Now, the microwave is live. There's power going to the microwave. Now this one here is slightly different. This is using an old mechanical timer. This one here ain't one of those fancy push button electronic ones. So this one here is a little bit different. This doesn't use a relay, but I will show you what one looks like. What you want to do in this case, just turn it on. Well, I want to put my make sure there's nothing in it. Turn the thing on. Now, once you turn the microwave on, everything will come on. Now, this is a similar case that Insider has mentioned about his microwave. Everything comes on, but it's not producing heat. And if you listen carefully, you don't hear any humming either. Now, check the meter after you've turned it on. Turn the microwave on. You will notice that it says 121. Now it's changing on me. That means that the transformer is getting power. So, if you're getting that at around 119, 122 volts, that means that the transformer is getting power, which also means that the relay, or whether it's mechanical or whether it is solid state, the transformer is getting power. So let's turn it back off. Test something else. Now, with that out of the way, we've tested that if the relay was working, you would either hear a click or you'll hear a hum in the transformer. Now, the next thing we're going to check is the capacitor. In order to check a capacitor of high voltage, there's only one way you can check them. You need a meter that can test for capacitance, mainly in microfarads. Such meters, depending on which if you buy like a multimeter like mine is, or if you buy a plain capacitance meter, the price range could vary between the two. But if the power is getting to the transformer, then chances are the transformer is bad, or the capacitor, the diode, or the magnetron is bad. Now, the thing is to check, we're going to check the capacitor. If you do not have a meter, there's no way you can check for this technique, because the meter is specifically designed to check for capacitance. Now, I've heard some people use ohm meters, because ohm meters will conduct pass electricity through a capacitor. But as the capacitor picks up electrons, then the resistance begins to drop to where, or increase I should say, the resistance increases to where it no longer holds any more electrons. It's a crude way of testing, but it has worked in some cases that I've dealt with. But I've always found it easier to use a meter that uses capacitance. Here's how you do it. First thing you want to do is take your meter and switch it to capacitance, which is usually marked KAP or CAP. Next thing you want to do is unhook one wire from the capacitor. In this case, I unhooked this one that's from the top. Now when you turn this microwave on, be sure that I don't touch anything, because you can test to see if the transformer is good, but it has to be able to touch something grounded like this diode is, and if it arcs, then the transformer is good, but I'm not going to show it in this demonstration. What you can do is take one wire off the capacitor and we're going to take the two test leads, set my meter up here to see it. Take one lead, touch one side of it, then you're going to take the other lead, touch the other side of it. As you can see, my meter is reading 0.757 microfarads. You can see the micro sign and the F towards the bottom right hand corner. Well, that indicates that the capacitor in this microwave is good. Microwave capacitors have ratings on the side of them, such as this one. You might not be able to see it, but it says that it's a 1700 volt AC, and that's going to be a 0.07 something microfarads. They're usually within 10%. Well, since this capacitor is reading, 0.757, we know that this capacitor is good. No problem. Okay, well, if the capacitor checks out, there's one other thing that could be wrong. And that's this little guy. This is a high voltage diode. This diode is what makes is another component that makes the magnetron work. If this goes bad, then your microwave will not work without it. If it is shorted, chances are you'll hear either a loud hum or your microwave will start blowing fuses. There is no way to check for these things. You have to have a high voltage power in order to test these things, in which I do not have one. This is one of those troubleshoots. You just change it and see if that's what fixes the problem. I've had some of these go bad to where it was an open circuit preventing the microwave from working at all. If you can find an old junk microwave, you can take one of these diodes out and move it. I will show you how to do that shortly after this video. If the diode was bad and you replace it, then your microwave should work. If not, it could be something else. The magnetron could also go bad. If it has, it will not work. But there's no way to test for the voltage. You have to have a special meter to test anything as high voltage. And I don't have one. They're pretty expensive. But chances are it's either the relay that's gone bad, or the controller in this case, or the capacitor's gone bad, or the diode's gone bad. I do hope that this was helpful to you, Insider, and to those others who's had problems with their microwave not heating their food or water or whatever's in the microwave. This tip will help you troubleshoot what the problem could be. As I said, some things you can replace in your microwave, but others you cannot because of the price, and you'd have to probably go to a junkyard to find a discarded one. Next, I'm going to show you how to replace a component. I can't show you how to replace a relay, especially if it's on a board. Some of them are located on the back side of the controller board. You will see it on the left hand side behind the control panel. The wires coming from the relay going directly to the board, or to the transformer, my bad, is what controls it. Some of them are bigger and mount to the bottom of the microwave. Some of them are mechanical. You hear a big click when they trigger on, and some of them don't hear a noise, but you hear something like a thump when the transformer is activated. You will find these on the bottom of the microwave in close proximity to the transformer. You can test to see if any power is going to those relays. The top of the relay will give you specifications and how much voltage they require. You can check the input side of them on the coil side, which are usually marked on the device, to check to see if it is getting the power it requires. The secondary side, you can check to see if voltage is coming out of it, as I showed earlier in the video. If it's not, but it is getting power, then the relay or the solid state relay is bad and need to be replaced. Again, you can find those online in various places, but can cost money. Or you can go to a junkyard, find a discarded one, and see if you can find one very similar to the old one that's coming out of your microwave. The capacitor, they will cost you anywhere between $60 to $100 for the capacitor of a microwave. If you go to a junkyard, you can get one a lot cheaper. Most of the time they just charge you maybe $1 or $2 for the capacitor. If you get a capacitor, it wouldn't hurt to get the diode that goes with them. Most of the time when you get a capacitor, the diode is attached to it. Be sure you take the diode too. It never hurts to have it. Here, I'm going to show you how to change it. The capacitor, as you see here, it's got a screw on this side and a latch on this side, mostly just like an anchor foot. What you want to do is you want to make sure that the wires that you unhook from your capacitor are marked. You can use wire markers or you can use a piece of paper, but some way that you can identify which wire goes onto these capacitors. If you do not hook them up right, you will blow a fuse. Once you have these unhooked, undo the screw that has them clamped in. The diode is connected to that screw. Take the screw out, take the cap off, which is a brace, take the capacitor out, put your new one in, make sure they pretty much have the same as the one that you're taking out, put it back in there, put this back on there in place, put your diode back on the same place that it was at when you took it off, put it back on the screw and screw it back down. Now you're set. Put your wires back onto the pins the same exact way they came off. You do not want to get these mixed up. Once you put the wires back on there, double check, make sure nothing else is unhooked from testing and troubleshooting earlier. Once everything's back in the place where it's supposed to be, now you are ready to check the microwave. Plug it back up. You have power going to it, and turn it on. As you can see, it starts to hum again. And you hear that little metallic noise. That means that your magnetron is working again. So now, everything is working. And the job is complete. You may have spent maybe anywhere between $5 to $10. Well, this concludes this video. I hope you've understood what I was helping you to do to troubleshoot. Be sure anytime you take a microwave apart that it's been unplugged for at least 15 minutes to be sure that the capacitor inside the microwave is fully discharged. You do not want any accidents. They will burn and they can kill you. Once you follow the ideas, you can take if the relay is on the board, you'll have to have somebody to take the board off to replace it if it's possible. If it's mounted to the frame or to the bottom, you can it usually has 1 or 2 screws that holds it in place. Find one in a junkyard if you can, or you can go online and order the same type. They could cost you around $20 to $40 for the same type. But if you can find one in a junkyard, that would be your best bet. For the capacitor, that will cost you anywhere between $40, maybe $80 just for the capacitor. If everything does check out, The capacitor is good, the relay is good, transformer's getting power. There's no way to check the diode, but if you did replace the diode and it still does not work, there's a good chance that either the magnetron is shot or the transformer is shot. You have to have a special test meter to test anything that's high voltage, such as a microwave. I do hope this video was informative and you can solve your problem on your own without having to spend a whole lot of money. I am Mr. Fix-It. This is a presentation by ES Repair. Thank you very much. Take care.